2.0. Thank you all for being here early this morning. And if there are any House members or senators that wish to speak on any of these as we go through them, please identify yourself. We'll be welcome to come to the table or to the podium, whichever you feel comfortable with, and saying a word on any of these. So we'll just go in order. The first one is House Bill 4053. This is to restore the suffrage of Mr. Omar Eugene McGee of Covington County. All right, Representative Sanford, I don't see him here. So this person, let's see, was conviction of grand larceny on May 25th of 1978. Sentenced to serve 60 months in custody of DOC, released on probation, and violated probation, was convicted of the crime of grand larceny on December the 15th of 1978 in Covington County, sentenced to serve 5 years, convicted for the crime of burglary on March 28th, 1985 in Simpson County, sentenced to serve 3 years, released in June of 1986, convicted on March 19th of 1999 for 2 counts of crime of delivery of controlled substance to serve 10 years concurrently in the custody of MDOC, was then discharged in September of 2008, and he completed all the terms of his sentence and has had no other issues since 2008. That is the information I have. Now, you'll see on each of these, as you flip through, the House was kind enough to send us the backup packet sheets from the MDOC and any letters that go along with that. So I'll give you a minute to kind of flip through those for yourself. And that'll be the same on all of these. All right. Questions, comments? Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there were 3 unique convictions, one in 78, one in 86 for burglary. And then there was a drug sale in 99, but I believe the note said the person did not parole out. They actually served their entire term.
Right. That's my understanding now.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions, comments? All right, for motion, anyone? Senator Thomas moves title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. The chair is in doubt. Let's have a show of hands. All in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. And any opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, the motion then fails because it is a tie. All right. Next bill is House Bill 4056, suffrage restore of Miss Agnes Standifer of Lee County. Is there anyone here on Miss Standifer, Lee County, that would like to speak? Okay. Get to that one. We'll go over it. All right, this one was Miss Agnes Standifer, Lee County, disqualified as elector as a result of her conviction of the crime of grand larceny in May of 2000 in Lee County, sentenced to serve 5 years in the custody of MDOC, 4 years probation, placed in earned release supervision February 1 of 2001, and was discharged in March of 2001. The legislature is informed she has since had no other issues, and you can look at the packet attached here too. Give y'all a minute to look through that. Okay. Any questions, comments? Senator Barnett.
Motion at the proper time.
Okay.
Chairman.
Questions, Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This question would apply, I guess, to everything that had a victim or a monetary crime. I apologize, didn't ask them. The restitution in any of these cases, I know some of them are old, but there's got to be some probably certification somewhere that restitution has been made. And I would also point out in this one, as I understand it, based on the paperwork, it was a grand larceny crime that they were sentenced in 2000 and granted ERS in 2001. So there was apparently good behavior while incarcerated as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's again why we asked any of the House authors, I invited them to come if they maybe knew any of the background about restitution. I don't have anything further than what's in the packet here, but we certainly, if this bill progresses beyond the committee, we can certainly contact the House author and Ms. Pat and help us with that and just to check to make sure restitution was made. Thank you. All right. For a motion, Senator Barnett.
Thank you. Title sufficient, do pass.
The motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, yes, sir.
if I could be recognized for a motion
You are recognized.
on item number House Bill 4053,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to enter a motion to reconsider by which it failed.
Okay,
All
you're
right.
recognized and that will be entered.
Okay.
All right. House Bill 4057, suffrage restored to Maddie Hardiman of DeSoto County. Did anyone, I think Senator McClendon was going to make some calls on the DeSoto County ones to his local folks, but I don't see him here today. So, all right, anyone here on that one? All right. So this one, make sure I'm on, I think I skipped one. 4057, is that the right one? Okay. Maddie Hardiman, DeSoto County. Okay, that's what threw us off. All right, so her conviction of the crime of false pretense on July the 8th of 2009 in Coahoma County, for which she was sentenced to serve 5 years probation. She was discharged in 2014, and it doesn't appear there's been any other issues there. So you can look through the packet real quickly. Any questions on Ms. Hardiman? Yes, sir. Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I understand it, false pretense is generally also known as a bad check.
Yes,
Okay, I just want to make sure.
that's my understanding too, right? Okay. For you criminal legal eagles, I think that's typically writing a bad check.
All right, one other thing, I'm pretty sure, sir, over there with the video, are we streaming this? We're streaming this, so it doesn't need to be recorded. We're streaming this. No, ma'am. Well, I'll leave that to the chairman. We're streaming this and it's recorded. So
What's the rules of the sentence?
that I don't know. I'm just, I guess, asking the question.
It's, I think.
I'm not aware of
Mr.
any prohibition on that, so these are public hearings, so, we'll continue rolling along.
Okay, thank
All right, Senate, so did we have a motion on House Bill number 4057? Senator Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, title sufficient, do pass.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. All right. Next bill, House Bill 4078, suffrage to restore to Shanty Williams of Coahoma County. Anyone here? Representatives James Jones or anyone from? Okay. All right. Ms. Shanty Williams is Coahoma County, disqualified as lecturer, resulted for conviction of the crime of embezzlement on June the 23rd of 03 in Tunica County, for which she was sentenced to serve 60 months under the supervision of MDOC. She was discharged June of 2008, and there have been other issues recorded. We did check, Ms. Trowels checked with the author, since this was a embezzlement crime, to make sure it wasn't a public fund. And the author, Representative James Jones, told us that it was private funds, I think related to a casino perhaps. So it was not involved with public funds, according to Representative James Jones. So we did ask that question. Any other questions? You see the packet attachments.
Title sufficient, do pass, Mr. Chairman.
All right, you recognize title sufficient to pass the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. All right, to pass. Next bill, House Bill number 4079. Anyone here from DeSoto County on this particular bill, Ms. Felicia Turner. Yes, Senator Hill. Chanty Williams. Yes, ma'am. We just,
No, Coahoma.
well, I think that
Coahoma.
was Coahoma County. Okay. I think the charges were in one county and she resided in a different county. The ones attached should be related to the individual. Okay.
Yes, I'm a pain.
So I think the question Senator Hill is asking on the previous bill that we just took up, if you look at the sheets, like that one that were provided, it appears there are different names. We're not sure. I guess our question is this an alias or the same person? I mean, I only have the information that's been attached to this. If you would like to hold this one on a motion to reconsider. All right.
Yep.
Okay, let's, the motion is to hold that one, House Bill 4078 on a motion to reconsider to give us time to get some answers, I guess, about that one. So that will be entered. All right, now 4079, again, Representative James Jones. This one is on the suffrage restoration of Miss Felicia Turner from DeSoto County. The conviction was the crime of embezzlement. Again, we asked the question of Representative James Jones about public versus private funds. She tells us it's private funds. She was sentenced to serve 3 years supervised probation and was released on August of 2016. And since that time, no other issues. Give you a second to look through the packet. Any questions? Yes, Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do we know why, other than maybe just paying the amount that she was sentenced to a 3-year supervised term of probation in 07, but wasn't released until 2016? It sounds like she stayed on probation 6 years longer. And if that's just because she hadn't paid in full, that's one thing.
Right.
I was curious because I didn't see anything in the file that addressed that.
I do not know the answer specifically to the question. My assumption would be like yours, that sometimes it takes people a little bit longer to pay out than the actual term of years. But we could certainly try to get an answer to that question if we want to take the bill up and then hold on a motion to reconsider if you'd like to do so.
I'm fine. I was just curious if we,
All right.
thank you.
Senator Hill?
I just- Hey, Mr. Chair, may I speak to that?
You may, certainly.
If this is going to be a recurring question, I guess, as a lot of the criminal defense attorneys know in here, and the prosecutors, former prosecutors, you'll get an NCIC based upon a date of birth and a social security number. It's a national system that will run that date of birth and that social security number. And a lot of the information is inaccurate. I've actually had many NCICs where they will say my client was actually in a place that he'd never been before. And you have to rely on certainly your client and the prosecutors in all these situations, but then also the information that you get from the NCIC is just starts as a basis of information. But I can tell you that a lot of times the information is not accurate. And if we're going to continue through this process, and a concern is going to be the validity of the information on the NCIC or the accuracy of the information on the NCIC, we're just not going to be able to effectively go through all of these. I will hope we can look at the ones based off the criteria, based off the criteria that's set by the Senate, which is if they're nonviolent, and certainly if they actually, from my understanding, after no longer than 5 years, more than 5 years old. I think you stated that at the first hearing. And if it's embezzlement, as long as it's not public funds. So I just wanted to say that because I think Senator Hill is going to have a concern by looking at the NCIC on all of them. But in many of the instances, in fact, this NCIC, Mr. Chairman, and to the members of the committee, it doesn't even look like the current ones we have. And I know some of the sparks can relate to it, but I mean, it's not even populated like the ones that we have now. Because it's old.
They're very old, yeah. Many of these are. Thank you for your
Yes, sir.
comments. All right, any other questions on this one? Senator Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the same vein that Senator Sparks was asking about being released from probation in 2016, on the fourth page, the MDOC inmate timesheet, based upon this, there's a block that's not checked for first-time offender. My assumption is looking at earned discharge credit from 15 to 16. I'd like to know if there was an additional felony that was not a disenfranchising crime that's not showing up on this NCIC. Because it does seem strange that she was released from probation on 4/24/2007, yet the House bill says that she was released on 2016. So there's obviously inaccurate information in the House bill, and I want to make sure she gets the consideration that she deserves.
Gotcha. All right, Senator Simmons.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm also looking at the same inmate timesheet, and I know with these type crimes, certainly, and there's no information on the amount of the restitution. I'm trying to see. But in a lot of these situations, it just takes defendants a long time to actually finish the restitution, the court costs, the fines, and the assessments. And so I certainly understand the concern of trying to get more information, but because it's old, if we don't get the information, it's my hope that we'll look at the fact that with embezzlement charges and the amount of money that has to be paid, which we don't know, could also account for how long it takes, because MDOC will not discharge you unless all the court costs, fines, and assessments have been paid.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right, so we can handle this one in two ways, and it'll be up to the pleasure of the committee. We can either skip over this one and come back once we get information, or we can take it up and someone can hold it on a motion to reconsider, so that we can gather the information. So do I have a motion? Senator Thomas? All right, the motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, so that's a title sufficient to pass. Would anyone like to be recognized for a motion to hold it on a motion to reconsider? Senator Hill? All right, enter the motion to reconsider. All right, House Bill 4080. This is Representative Bell of the 65th District from the House. All right, this is an act to restore the right of suffrage to Yvonne Williams of Hinds County. And let's see, her conviction for the crime of accessory after the fact to business burglary on September of 2012 in Madison County. She was sentenced to serve 5 years in the intensive supervision program and 4 years supervised probation. Sentences to run concurrently. She was then discharged on September of 2013, released on probation 2016, and released from the custody of MDOC. That's all the information I have in addition to the attached sheets. Give you a second to look through those. All right, any questions, comments? Motion's title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, House Bill 4083. Again, Representative Bell, the 65th. Mr. Kelvin Winding of Hinds County. Result of the conviction of receiving stolen property September of 2011 in Madison County. Sentenced to serve 10 years in custody of MDOC. The last 9 years suspended, placed on supervised probation for 5 years. Under MDOC was placed on intensive supervision program for 1 year. Released then from probation October of 2017 due to expiration of his sentence. That's what the bill has. There's a few attachments. Comments, questions? Motion? Motion is House sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, 4085. This is Representatives Rosebud and Bell, 65th. Anybody here on that? All right, Quentin Purnell, Grenada County, disqualified as lecturer for the conviction of the crime of grand larceny in April of 92 in Montgomery County. Sentenced to serve 60 months under the custody of MDOC. Upon release, he violated probation, which resulted in revocation of the probation, convicted for the crime of grand larceny, October of 1993. Also Montgomery County, sentenced to serve 3 years in MDOC custody and 2 years of release supervision. He was released from supervision February of 96 at the expiration of his sentence. There are attachments. Questions, comments? The motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, 4086, Mr. Joseph Greer of Hinds County, Representative Bell, the 65th again. Let's see, disqualified, result of conviction of the crime of forgery in June of 93 in Hinds County. Sentenced to serve 6 months in MDOC custody on November 2000, convicted of the crime of grand larceny in Rankin County. Sentenced to serve 6 months probation, March the 14th of 2011 in Hinds County. He was convicted of the crime of cocaine possession and was sentenced to serve 5 years in the supervised probation under MDOC, discharged in March of 2016. That's the information in the bill, their attachments. All right, questions, comments?
Title sufficient to pass, Mr. Chair.
All right, motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay, let's have a show of hands on that one. All in favor of granting suffrage rights, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, any opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, the nays have it.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hold it on a motion to reconsider.
All right, you recognize the motion will be entered. All right, next one, House Bill number 4087, Representative Bell, the 65th. Anyone here to speak on that one? Okay. Mr. Rondell Hughes of Hinds County, disqualified as an elector, result of conviction of crime of credit card fraud on October the 29th of 2013 in Hinds County, for which he was sentenced to serve 5 years, 1 year under house arrest and 4 years probation, discharged in October of 2014 at the expiration of his sentence. That's all I have on the bill. There are a few attachments. Any questions? All right, Senator Sparks.
I understand in the bill, and this may go back to what Senator Barrett said earlier, that you're just listing the crime of which you're disenfranchised.
Right.
As we make votes on this, I think it would be beneficial in the future that the author of the bill list all felonies, because on the discharge certificate, there's also a felony DUI. I don't know if.
I was gonna
that-
mention.
I don't know if that was at the same time, overlap. I'm not really sure what's going on. In the future, I would encourage them to list all felonies.
That's a great point because, I mean, most crimes are not disenfranchising. There's a list of, I think, 21 or so that are. So sometimes what you see in the paperwork, as Senator Sparks pointed out, is just the disenfranchising crime. There could be other crimes that are not disenfranchising that you'll see in the attachment. So I think it's a good practice to get the full picture to list all the crimes, but, you know, the House does what they do, and we'll work through it. All right, any other questions on Mr. Rondell Hughes of Hines County? If not, for motion,
Title sufficient do pass, Mr. Chair.
motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay, let's have a show of hands. All in favor, please raise your right hand or a hand, whichever you'd like. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, any opposed? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, the noes have it.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hold up the motion reconsider.
You are recognized. There'll be a motion to reconsider entered. All right, House Bill number 4088, Representative Bell of the 65th. Anyone here on that one? All right, this is the suffrage restoration, Mr. Jose Williams of Hines County. Conviction of the crime of grand larceny on April of 91 in Rankin County. Sentenced to serve 6 months in the custody of MDOC and 5 years probation. Was released in August of 91 due to expiration of the sentence. There are attachments. Any questions, comments? Motion at the proper time is now. All right, the motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. All right, House Bill number 4089, Representative Bell, the 65th. Anyone here? Okay, Mr. Walter Lewis of Hines County. Conviction of the crime of false pretense, February of 2013 in Madison County, sentenced to serve 3 years with 1 year in the Mississippi Department of Corrections custody and 2 years of probation. He was released to earn release supervision October the 15th of 23 and finally discharged December the 5th, 2013. There are attachments as well. Yes, Senator Hill. That's a good question. My thought would be, since there's not a specific listing of false pretense, that's probably the case, but I certainly don't want to speak definitively to that. Senator Simmons?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, on the sheet, I think is an error because false pretense is number 12.
Okay.
Number 12 on that sheet.
Oh, yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I think it is a mistake.
Yep. But if you actually look at the other information in the packet, it clearly supports false pretense.
Yep. I think that is the case. But certainly we can double check with MDOC, Senator Hill, if you would like to do that.
In all fairness, this is a document that's actually signed by Representative Bell. I think they put this together as a explanatory page for us. So I think we can start with Representative Bell, and he may have just accidentally circled the wrong box or wrong number.
Check box there, okay. Senator England.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I believe Senator Sparks is correct. After looking at those forms, we had one that had the wrong thing circled a minute ago and it was Xed out. I think that's just maybe an administrative form used here by our
legislature.
colleagues in the
I
House.
think you're right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that comment. All right, any other questions for a motion?
Title sufficient do pass.
The motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. All right. House Bill number 4095. This is Representatives Anthony and Rosebud. All right, Mr. Joseph Armstrong of Sunflower County disqualified as a result of the crime of grand larceny in July of 2004 in Sunflower County, sentenced to serve 5 years in the custody of MDOC, released from earned release on November of 2006, discharged from probation August of 2007. And there are some attachments. You can, yeah,
Because larceny is number 10.
yeah. Yeah, these,
Yeah.
our house member friends need to be a little more careful in how they fill out these forms.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I would be in the same boat. All right, motion?
Title sufficient do pass, Mr.
Motion
Chairman.
is title sufficient do pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, Representative Mickens filed House Bill 4098. Is anyone here on that one? All right, suffrage of Miss Jennifer Miles of Winston County, discharged as an elector result of the conviction of the crime of grand larceny in 2008 in Winston County, sentenced to serve 5 years. MDOC discharged in December of 2012. And we do have some attachments. I think they also circled the wrong one on this one too.
They did.
They did.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Senator
Motion at the appropriate time.
You're recognized.
Title sufficient do pass.
The motion is title sufficient do pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, we're getting on down the list here. House Bill number 4099, Representative Summers. All right. Rankin County, Mr. Dustin Darrell. The crime was grand larceny. Rankin County sentenced to serve 5 years under MDOC supervision, was released on probation in November of 2009. On February of 2013, convicted of the crime of grand larceny, burglary vehicle, and burglary non-residential to serve 5 years and 1 day in the custody of MDOC. When concurrently with each of the others, he was released in June of 2013, discharged July of 2015, and that's all the information on the bill. Then there are attachments. All right, questions, comments? Senator Hill. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Can you use the microphone? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
It's like a technical. and-
Senator
yeah,
Simmons?
that's like a technical violation from being on probation. So, but if I could just speak to it before a
You're-
motion.
You're recognized.
Usually, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, when you see a lot of property offenses, it's usually someone who is suffering from a drug addiction. And I just wanted to say that because I know it was more than one actual offense on here, but they all property related
Right.
because usually it's from an addiction.
Good point. All right. Other questions, comments? Senator McCon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm looking back on the DOC sheet and I'm not as familiar as our brethren who do criminal defense, but I do see a 2017 listing for a burglary of a non-residential. Do we know if that was a conviction or if that was just a charge? Because that would also be a disenfranchising charge and it's not listed on this petition.
On the 11-17, the burglary non-residential term.
That's right.
Served consecutively, looks like. What do you think on that one? Well, it's got burglary non-residential on line 12. Yeah, I think it's, is that not listed right there? Okay.
I'll ask a follow-up if I may to that, because,
You're right,
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see that a non-residential burglary is listed in the petition,
Right.
but said they were convicted in 2013 for that crime, but the sheet shows burglary non-residential as a 2017 or 2015 event, because it says committed under one line. If you look to the right, I would just like to have clarification if there's a new crime after the sentencing of 2013. I don't want to be punitive if that was part of the total plea agreement on the front end,
Right.
but I don't know how to clarify that
Okay.
right now. Thank you.
Well, why don't we, I think, obviously we need more information on that one. So again, we can handle it however the committee wants to handle it. Do you want to take it up? Yeah, we'll have to meet again anyway on these motions to reconsider.
My motion would be to table this one until we have further
All
information.
right, the motion is to table subject to call.
Table subject to call.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. So that one will be laid on the table,
And
subject to call. All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
and I know Senator Sparks said that going forward, it'd probably be helpful for you and the committee if we actually have a list of all the felonies.
Yes.
I was talking to Senator DeBar, would probably be better if we also saw the actual indictment and the sentencing orders.
Okay.
Because
That's certainly something we can ask. I guess MDOC would have access to that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Local clerk's office. Thank you,
That's a
Mr. Chairman.
great suggestion. All right. House Bill number 4100, Representative Thompson. Anybody here on that one? All right, this one is Mr. Clovis Dale McGee from Lee County, Mississippi, disqualified as conviction of the crime of burglary general and sale of controlled substance in 1980 in Lee County. Sentenced to serve 10 years in the custody of MDOC, paroled October of 1983, violated probation. It was revoked on June of 1985, was sentenced to serve his term. He was then paroled in August of 1986 and discharged on July 8th of 1987. No other issues since that time. There are attachments you can look through real quick. All right, any questions? All right, motion, Senator Sparks. Motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right. House Bill number 4101. This is Representative Mickens. Anyone here on that one? All right. This is to restore the suffrage of Mr. Tony Lavelle Smith, Noxubee County, disqualified as a result of conviction of crime of grand larceny in September of '06 in Noxubee County, sentenced to serve 5 years probation under MDOC, was discharged in November of '09. That's all the information on the bill. There's some attachments. Questions, comments? Senator Hickman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a motion at the appropriate time.
You are
but,
recognized.
Before the motion, I'll say that I know Mr. Smith, he is an active member of our community. I did check back and answer the question. I think that since these are House bills, Senator Sparks stopped asking it, but all restitution, everything has been paid for the particular crime, and my motion will be title sufficient to pass.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. Thank you for that. All right, House Bill number 4103, Representative Kareem. This was Lowndes County. Anyone here on that one? Nope. All right, so the suffrage of Miss Mary Smith Brandon, Lowndes County, disqualified as an elector in August of 2003, result of conviction of the crime of false pretense conspiracy in Lowndes County. She was sentenced to serve 3 years under supervision of MDOC, and both sentences to run consecutively, discharged in October of 2008. There are attachments. All right, motion. Motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. All right. I thought I was at the end, but there's another page. We got some more, sorry. All right, House Bill number 4104, restore the suffrage of Lawrence Daniels of Lowndes County. 4104, okay. Anybody here on that one? Okay. So this is Mr. Lawrence Daniels, Lowndes County, disqualified as an elector, result of conviction of the crime of grand larceny in March of 2002 in Jefferson Davis County, which is formerly my area, now represent Senator Barry's area. He was sentenced to serve 5 years in the custody of MDOC. Upon his release from probation, it was revoked due to a violation in July of '04 in Jefferson Davis County. He was convicted of grand larceny to serve 5 years in MDOC, released to earn release supervision on September of 2007, discharged in May of 2008. And there are certainly attachments here as well. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, for motion? Motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. All right, next we have House Bill 4111, the suffrage restoration of Leon Coleman of Jackson County. Anyone here on that one? Okay, so let's see, Mr. Coleman disqualified due to the conviction of crime of possession of stolen property in July 2014 in Jackson County, for which he was sentenced to serve 3 years in custody of MDOC, 2 years of post-release supervision, paroled in June of 2015, discharged in November 2015. You see the attachments. All right, any questions, comments, or motion? Motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. All right. 4118, Representative Hines. Anyone here on this one?
I know Mr. Everett more.
Okay, I will recognize Senator Simmons.
Yep, he's from Washington County, and I can tell you, this certainly was a situation where we had a drug addict. He committed a couple of shopliftings. He actually was on probation. He was discharged from probation around 2001. Hasn't been in any trouble in Washington County in 22 years.
Thank you for that. All right, for a motion, Senator Simmons.
Title sufficient to pass, Mr. Chairman.
Motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. And then we have House Bill 4124, Representative Anthony. Okay, anyone here on that one? All right, so we have Humphreys County, Tony Qualls, disqualified, result of conviction of the crime of burglary of the vehicle. In Washington County, sentenced to serve 3 years in MDOC. July of 2007, convicted for the crime of burglary non-residential. In August 2007, was convicted of burglary vehicle, for which he was sentenced to serve 4 years. MDOC, paroled in 2008. Sentence expired in 2013. Convicted for the crime of burglary non-residential in April of 2013. Sentenced to serve 3 years. MDOC and 1 year supervised probation, paroled in April of 2014, discharged March of 2015. And there are attachments. Questions? Comments? Any motion? Heard the motion is title sufficient to pass. You have a question, Senator Sparks?
On the discharge certificate, the state's burglary of a dwelling. That's not a, I mean, it could be an error, but that's on a 2015 discharge certificate. That would be a crime of violence.
Which one? I'm not.
Would be this page.
This one here? There's no one. Sorry. Burglary of a dwelling here, yeah. All right, that's the one you're talking about. All righty, so it looks like there was on this discharge, the first, well, it's not the first one in the packet, it's the second, well, it's the first discharge certificate in the packet where it references burglary of a dwelling. That is considered a violent offense. So typically we don't take those up, but that is in the packet. It could be a mistake, but it's in there, so,
I'd have a motion if.
all right. I think, who did I recognize? Senator Hickman? Your motion was what? And what is your motion?
My motion would be table subject to call.
All right, he's going to withdraw his motion. So the motion is table subject to call of the chair.
Yes.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. Senator Simmons?
Yep, and And I just want to say, like on that one, I think that's the reason why an indictment and a sentencing order will be helpful. And I will actually, when we recess, get that information from the circuit court.
Great. Senator DeBar.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to hold House Bill 4088 and Jose Williams on motion to reconsider.
All right.
While I agree with Senator Simmons that NCICs can be misleading and so forth, his NCIC indicates a sex offense in maybe under a different name and so forth. So I
Okay.
think the chair could go ahead and
We
clarify
will
that.
enter that motion for sure.
Thank you.
And then as far as the timing of all this, obviously y'all know as well as I don't know how long we're going to be here. My intention is certainly to meet again once we get this information. I don't control the calendar. If we sine die today, I'm not going to be torn up about that, but I don't foresee that happening. But again, I don't want y'all to say, well, you committed to meet again and then we dismiss later this afternoon and I look like I've told you a story. It's my intention to meet again as soon as we get this information. Yet I don't control the Senate calendars when we're released from here. So subject to that caveat, I will intend to meet again. Senator Wiggins.
Question, Mr. Chairman. On this, if the intent of the House was to send a message about how many of these there are, in the past, the chairs have had a discussion about a procedure for handling things in, I guess, either group or ahead of time or something in lieu of doing what we just did here. Has there been any discussion? Is that even a possibility? Or-
To the extent, I mean, Chairman Horan and I did discuss whether and when we would be taking up suffrage bills. They actually had, I think, 45 that were filed. We had 9, I believe, that were filed. So we took up 5 and have passed 4 of those off of the floor. I don't think they've been taken up on the House end yet. They took up 27, and of the 27, I think we ended up taking up 21 or 22, however many are on this sheet, because some of them were violent in nature. So we did not take up the violent ones that were violent on their face. So to the extent we've had that discussion, they also Chairman Horan told me that his intent was not to take up any violent ones or any embezzlement of public funds. Of course, you see the ones that we have, and that didn't necessarily track the discussion we had, but nevertheless, we received the ones we received. So as far as the discussion of when these would all be taken up in committee on the floor, those specifics were never shared with me. So I can follow up.
Well, I guess I was looking more for a procedure and guidelines, because in previous years, there were discussions about how to, I mean, this is how we do it, but
Right.
to try to make the process
Smoother,
and then also guidelines.
Those were
because I think
discussed.
The House ought to know by now, we're not going to take up a violent offense.
right?
So, anyway,
That discussion was had. I was told that they were similar to our guidelines, that the ones they were using. But then again, you see what came across. So, I don't.
Well,
want
that
to-
also goes to the point that Senator Simmons is making about that. I would agree that having the indictment, having all that, it's almost like a local and private, that you get all the information so that we can have it and all that.
That's a great suggestion. Certainly something we'll look into getting.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Good discussion. Thank you all for being here. Motion to rise and report. All right. Thank you all.